Hello everyone, I welcome you all to today's session, wherein we are still continuing in the numbers area only, right. So, in the previous classes we have covered how do we find the last digit, last two digits. In this video we will be looking at the concepts of remainders, right, some concepts of remainders. So, this is the first video. So, in this particular video we shall be looking at the pattern method, right, the pattern method of finding the remainders. But before we do that, before we go for pattern method and all, we shall be covering remainders at a very basic level, right. Let us try to understand what do we mean by remainders. So, whenever you divide any number by another number, let us say 25 by 8, so we say that 8 goes 3 times, 8 into 3 is 24, difference is 1. So, in this division we say this number 25 is called as the dividend, right, this 8 is the divisor, this 3 is the quotient, and this 1 we call it as a remainder. And today's video we are interested in this calculation, and these 4 variables are actually connected by an equation: dividend is equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder. Now, in this equation, the 2 variables quotient and remainder, they have some special properties, like, so remainder and quotient must always be belonging to integer value. In fact, we keep them non-negative generally in the discussion, non-negative. Also, remainder value can be maximum, it will be less than, remainder will be less than the divisor value. Remainder has to be less than the divisor. If it is not less, we redivide. I explain what do we mean by redivide. Observe, if you have a calculation to perform, let us say 35 by 6. So, we know that 6 goes 5 times, 6 5 is 30 and all. Let us say I make a mistake here. So, I say 6 does not go 5 times but 4 times. So, 6 into 4 is 24, difference is 11. I say my remainder is 11. Now, this is clearly a wrong calculation because my remainder is 11, which is more than the divisor. It is not possible. So, that means somewhere something has gone wrong. What we will do is, if remainder is not less than divisor, then we redivide. So, what do I mean by that? Whatever remainder you obtained, you redivide by 6. So, 6 will go 1 time, 6, and finally I will get appropriate remainder. This is what I mean by redivide, right. Some more properties. So, if you see that if remainder when a number n is divided by d is, let us say, some r, if this is given to us or if we know this, then point number 1, remainder when this number is multiplied by k, when divided by the same divisor, will be r into k. So, that means if the dividend is multiplied by 5, remainder will also be multiplied by 5. If dividend is doubled, that means multiplied by 2, remainder will also be multiplied by 2, right. Second point, remainder when n is raised to the power k, the remainder will also be raised to the power k. So, if you square the number, remainder will also be squared. If you take number to the power 5, remainder will also become to the power 5. This is one property. Also, before we start with pattern method and our subsequent methods, there are a few things that we need to know about remainders, these being some of them. Also, the concept of negative remainder. So, here we said that remainder should be non-negative, that is what he said, right. When I said integer, I said non-negative generally, but here we talk about negative remainder concept. What do I mean by that? Sometimes for our convenience, we try to convert the positive remainder to negative remainder and then solve the question. Examples I will not give you right now, I am just going to give you the process of converting positive remainder to negative remainder. Examples I will give it in the subsequent videos. So, negative remainder, say if you have, if remainder when n is divided by d is r, suppose it is a positive remainder. Now, if I want the corresponding negative remainder from positive, how do we do it? So, the process is, if you want to convert positive remainder to negative remainder, do one thing, you subtract the divisor. You will get the result, and if you want to convert negative remainder to positive remainder, you add the divisor. You will get the required result. So, this is how we convert negative remainder to positive and vice versa, positive to negative. One more point. If your number n is written as sum of two parts n1 plus n2, then the corresponding remainders, say n divided by d is r, n1 divided by d is r1, n2 divided by d is r2, suppose, then if n is equal to n1 plus n2, corresponding r will be equal to r1 plus r2 always. Or, and one more thing, this is not true only for two numbers. Even if you break down n as n1 plus n2 plus n3, then r will be equal to r1 plus r2 plus r3. It could be for more numbers also. n1 minus n2, then corresponding r will be equal to r1 minus r2. Or if n is equal to n1 into n2, then corresponding r will be equal to r1 into r2. So that means the way you break down the given number, remainders will be broken down exactly the same way. N is equal to n1 minus n2, r equal to r1 minus r2. So these are some basics. In this video, we are going to talk about a particular method which we call as the pattern method. So what do you mean by pattern method? Let's understand this with the help of a few examples. Say for example, if question ask us what will be the remainder when 2 to the power 53 is divided by say 9. Find the remainder. So the way of solving this would be, we go for pattern recognition as follows. We try to see 2 power 1 divided by 9. What's the remainder? It's 2. 2 square, 4. 2 cube, it's 8. 2 power 4, it's 16. 16 by 9 is 7. 2 power 5 is 5. And 2 power 6 by 9 is 1. And see, in this pattern method, see, the moment you get a 1, you stop the process. I'll tell you why. Please note, from here to here, can I say the number is doubled, right? 2 is becoming 2 square, that means double. Remainder will also double. 2 square is becoming 2 cube, double. Remainder will also double. Double, 8 will also double. Now, after doubling, 8 will become 16. But 16 cannot be a valid remainder, right? Because it's more than 9. What do? We redivide. Redivide that 16 by 9 in your heads, you'll get 7. So number is doubled, remainder is also double. Now what will happen after this? So when you go to 2 power 7, suppose, double, remainder will be 2 again. Pattern will repeat now. So the moment you get a 1, you stop. You can actually stop there. So this is the pattern. Now, if you note in one of the previous videos, I told you, if you get a pattern of 6 digits, then you should start thinking about your powers in terms of 6k plus 1, 6k plus 2, 6k plus 3, 6k plus 4, 6k plus 5, 6k. Same thing here. Since the pattern is of 6 digits, I will start thinking about powers in terms of 6k plus 1. So if the power is 6k plus 1, you can see that here, power is 6k plus 1, 6 into 0 plus 1, I will get remainder of 2. 6k plus 2, I will get 4. And lastly 6k, I will get 1. So this is the observation that I make based on this pattern obtained. Now finally the question. What was the question? 2 to the power 53 divided by 9. What is the remainder? Now look at the power here, 53. What form is it? Is it 6k plus 1 or plus 2 or plus 3? If you notice, this is 2 to the power 6k plus 5. 6 into 8, 48 plus 5 divided by 9. So if the power is 6k plus 5, my remainder should be 5. So here we will get the remainder as 5. So this is the pattern method. There are other methods also, of course, alright, but today's video is only about this one example. So let's take one more. Say for example, the question is 3 to the power 83. Find the remainder when 3 to the power 83 is divided by, suppose 16. Say 16. Okay. So 3 power 83 divided by 16. So how do we go for this, right? Or let's make it a little easier for us. So instead of 16, let us we can take 16. Let's take 16 only. Now, let's go for pattern method. There could be other ways, as I said. Let's go for pattern method. So, by pattern method, can I say 3 power 1 divided by 16? What's the remainder? It's 3. 3 square, it is 9. 3 cube divided by 16. So, 27 by 16 is 11. 3 power 4 divided by 16. 81 by 16 is 1. And the moment we get a 1, we'll stop. Here, can I say the repetition pattern is of 4 digits? The digits is 4. So, hence I'll start thinking about my power in terms of 4k plus 1. Look at this is 4k plus 1, 4k plus 2, 4k plus 3 and 4k and 4k. And now coming to the question, what is the question? The question is 3 to the power 83 divided by 16. What is the remainder? So, here can I say the power is of the form 4k plus 3. So, 3 to the power 4k plus 3 divided by 16. If the power is 4k plus 3, the corresponding remainder will be 11. My answer. So, this is how we could answer our questions here, right, in this particular manner, right, by using the pattern method. There are other methods also which are available, right, which we will be covering in our subsequent classes. However, there is one more small method that we have, which is called as, it's related to pattern only, it's called as observation based method. Now, what do we mean by observation? Let me apply it here. So, 3 power 83. So, can I say by observation? So, for this method you should be good with numbers, your grip over numbers should be good. By observation, one can note 3 power 4 81 divided by 16, the remainder is 1, right. So, if 3 power 4 is giving you 1 remainder, that means whole power k, number raised to the power k, remainder will become 1 power k. So, that means if your power is 3 power 4k, when divided by 16, my remainder will be 1 always. Now, come to the question 3 power 83. So, 3 power 83, what is the closest multiple of 4 less than this? 80. So, 3 power 80. So, 3 power 80 divided by 16, can I say the remainder will be 1? But the question is 3 power 83. How do I arrive at 3 power 83 from 3 power 80? Multiply with 3 cube. So, when you multiply with 3 cube here, remainder will also be multiplied with 3 cube, which is 27. So, you get the answer as 27, which can't be because it is more than 16. You redivide by 16. You get your answer as 11. So, observation based method could also be used, right, in parallel in conjunction with this pattern method. Now, that would be slightly quicker owing to the fact that we are straight away arriving at 3 power 4. Here we are going in order 3 power 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. So, either ways we can answer a question. So, these are some basic methods without any formula and all. There are other methods also which we will discuss in our subsequent videos. In the next video, I plan to take up remainder theorem, which we will cover, right. So, just to reiterate, you can visit these online presence, just check them out, right. There is a lot of content available there for your benefit. Okay. And with that, let me end the session here. Thank you and all the very best.